Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we're discussing a launch from 2022 from Patek Philippe. This is the Aquanaut 7968/300R-001. This is the Aquanaut Luce Rainbow Chronograph, and it is all of those things. This is not a woman's watch. This is a substantial timepiece that's almost 40 millimeters in diameter, heavy in the hand, and best described as a sort of unisex option for high jewelry fans. So the watch is a very pale pink gold, 39.9 millimeters in diameter, 10.3 millimeters thick. It's 47.2 from lug tip to lug tip with a beefy 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. And because it does have a conforming form-fit strap, there's a little bit of stiffness that extends the strap further across the wrist. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see it is a sizable timepiece. Down the barrel, though, the lugs are inboard of the edge of my wrist, and it's a flat watch, pretty low sitting. It'll easily slide underneath a dress cuff or a formal sleeve. Here's your over-the-top shot. I can recommend this for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. So if you have the very petite female wrist, this might actually be too big. The strap is one of several options available on the model. They call it composite, I call it rubber. Functionally, it's exactly the same thing. It features the so-called Aquanaut cut that you'll also find on the dial in white mother of pearl. Of course, the original Aquanaut, back in 1997, introduced rubber straps to Patek Philippe high-end sports watches. It was a little bit subversive at the time. It's much more commonplace today, but the Aquanaut was the pioneer in that space. Now, we do have a conforming strap, so it matches the slope of the lug, but also the curve of the case for a nice integrated look. On the bottom, a lot of pre-scored segments. This is an uncut factory strap. We will cut it to suit your wrist and make sure you get a perfect fit. And if we get it wrong, we will do it again for free. I guarantee you this watch will fit. Calatrava cross on the buckle, along with 10 diamonds. So there are quite a few gems on this watch. On the clasp, we have 10 diamonds. That's 0.36 carats. Twin trigger release. You can see little pieces of the Calatrava cross internally, a twin trigger release clasp rolling around to the case. A medley of satin and polish. You can see the familiar Aquanaut form here. There are some marks of wear. This watch has been used. And you can see that we have sort of a soft bevel on the flank of the lugs. We have chronograph pushers with both satin and polish. And you can see I have a little bit of a taper as they move towards the edge. We have a crown, again, with the Calatrava cross, the logo of the brand. It's a push-down crown. The watch is rated as 30 meters water resistant, but Patek adds that's a true 30 meters. So by their own logic, this is a surface swimmable watch. In an invisible setting, that is to say there are no visible metal pincers, we have 2 rows of gems. Outboard, we have 40 hand-selected colored sapphires with a very slight gradient from gem to gem so that the progression is truly rainbow-like all the way around. Inboard of that, we have 40 also invisibly set baguette diamonds. So keep in mind now, we have 80 in the bezel, 10 on the clasp, 12 more on the dial. That is 102 gems on this high jewelry piece. This is considered to be one of the métier rare or craft art pieces offered by the brand, more handmade than your average Patek Philippe. Also important to note is the total of the carats. So for the diamonds, we have 2.05 carats in the bezel, and for the sapphires outboard of that, we have 2.31 carats. On the dial, we have 0.31 carats of rainbow sapphires, but you can also see we have solid gold indices that they sit upon, as well as solid gold numerals and hands. The idea is they'll never tarnish, oxidize, or discolor. We have an extraordinary white mother of pearl dial that's been cut into a specific pattern that Patek describes as an Aquanaut grid. I would describe it as a geosphere, but we can agree to disagree. The watch does have some luminescence, and we'll take a look at that now. The watch also features A 60-minute chronograph register, which I find more useful than a 30-minute chronograph register, and there's a flyback action, so you can reset the chronograph in a moment and restart it without first stopping. Great for timing events that occur in rapid succession. Also important to note, there is no date on this dial, so if you're like me at the prom, you have no date, and you like no date, and you want no date, this is the way to go. A much more balanced dial. Turning it all over, we've got the well-known caliber 28520. You've seen it on a million Patek chronographs over the years. Automatic winding, 55-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate, 6-position adjusted, 32 joules, silicone hairspring that is both anti-magnetic and able to breathe concentrically like an overcoil, 4 Hz beat rate on a Gyromax-style free-sprung balance. We have a combination of a column wheel. It's actually more like a flattened cam, but technically this is described by Patek as a column wheel. And then we have a vertical clutch. So the column wheel ensures that the action is crisp, and it certainly is that. The vertical clutch ensures that there's no extraneous motion or jump when you start up that chronograph. And if you like to have your chronograph running full time, remember it is a quite still dial without it. If you like to just leave it running, you can do that because there's no additional wear and tear with a vertical clutch mechanism. It's a fairly well-sized movement, 30 millimeters in diameter, tough, reliable, and it gives good service. And these were guaranteed when they came out to run no worse than -3 + 2 seconds per 24 hours. Patek has subsequently revised that to no worse than -1 + 2 seconds per 24 hours. So it is a horologically credible movement, and although it's not the most artisanal Patek Philippe caliber, it is nicely decorated in a fashion that lives up to the legend of the brand and will reward close viewing with a loupe if you want to appreciate the decoration of your movement. But this is all about the craft art of the gem setting, which is done in excruciatingly manual fashion and is an extraordinary feat of skill by itself. So reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.